All right, guess what? I'm back. I'm live again. It's 7:58, an hour, an hour later than I said I would be back here streaming. I apologize for that. I was working out and I had completely spaced it out. And then I got a text from somebody saying, "Hey, are you streaming tonight?" I was like, "Oh shit, that's right. I said I'd do it." So I'm back, and I'll just keep talking until somebody shows up. If not, I'll just do a show by myself, and we'll figure this thing out. A lot to talk about, a lot to process, and more confusion, and no real solid ground, and a lot of unresolved feelings. And maybe we'll bust out the Skype line tonight, and we'll take some Skype calls tonight. How does that sound? So does that sound good? Maybe we'll do a little Skype tonight. Little nighttime radio. Welcome to 15 Minutes of Flame After Dark, where we talk about subjects that rarely see the light of day. Let's see. Who do we got? Let's see. There's EC2189 Kaku. Hello. There she is, Jennifer Fitzgerald. WC Ray. Stella Moore. Hi, Stella. CVMR 47. Robert. That's what my mother calls me. Door to door. My man, Steve. What's up? There she is. Lisa Marie. Ian Barber. Z. There's Lils. There's Ryan. Joan W. Hi, Joan W. Trog. Otto. Ego. Crap. 666. Good to see you. There she is. Cheeky Monkey. Hi, Amy. Nice to see you. Joe Mama, Carolina in the Pines, Michelle Taylor checking in from the Sunshine Coast, Misty Miner, Tanya Lynn, Renee. Delighted to see you too, Nancy. Up by myself and very sad. Well, we're here for each other tonight. And look, it looks and feels pretty dark out there. But you know what? We're in the winter. We're in the winter of the fourth turning. What did you expect? This is the winter of the fourth turning. We're in the seed time. It's Gil Scott Heron, and it's winter in America. Let's see. Who do we have? Jennifer Rubin. The cult. Yeah, right. I would make a really bad cult leader. I would make. You know why I'd make a really bad cult leader? I'll tell you why. Because I went through my cult-like spell in the 90s. I got that out of my system. Not that I had a cult, mind you, but I did have Pluto and Scorpio on my ascendant and transiting, and that was quite an interesting time. And let's just say I got really close to the flame. So I don't think any cult-like trips are going to be happening here. There's my man Rob Chopra. Good to see you. There's MK. Hi, MK. Danica, did I say hi to you? There's Renee. Let's see who else we have here. Evan Taylor, what's going on, Evan? There's Frank Bry. Oh, so hey, Frank, I guess Owen Benjamin has moved to Sandpoint now. Owen Benjamin has fled Washington. He just keeps moving, right? He goes from Southern California. He gets a farm in Washington, and now apparently he's got a 600 square foot place in Idaho now. And I listened to him yesterday. He's still funny as ever. Susie, what's going on, Susie? Nighttime is the right time. Mary Olmstead. Hello, Mary. Good to see you. T. Jordan, Kelly Broyles. What's happening? Phoenix from Jeffrey Tucker, 95% false positive PCR test. I know. Well, we can talk about that. Maybe I'll play a little bit of Carrie Mullis tonight. I must have forgotten you were going to be on. You know what, Sue? I forgot I was going to be on too. Believe it or not. Let's see. See all the realtors smiling, saying, "Welcome, Californians." Yeah, they're hot footing it out of there, aren't they? Jimmers 333, what's going on? Momo, hey, Sandra Wells, very nice to see you. We're doing all right. Michael R, my man. What's going on, Michael? Good to see you. So how's the clips going for you, Tanya? Working out? Jelena, What's going on? Jelena Scrubbies. Hi, Tamara. Good to see you. Gucci the Goats. Back again. I think Owen is up toward Bonner's Ferry. He just said he's near Sandpoint. Hello, Kurt. What's going on, Kurt? I listened to him yesterday. He was hilarious. Very hilarious. What do you think about Texas hospitals receiving their phase 1 doses of vaccine on the same day of the total solar eclipse, astrologically speaking? Well, we talked about this a little bit last night. So Texas is a Capricorn state with a Capricorn moon, and they're gonna play ball. Greg Abbott is a globalist, internationalist. He has ties to Israel. He has ties to China. He has ties to anybody that wants to line his pockets and allow him to stay in power. He's not a conservative. He's not somebody who has the quote unquote will of the people at heart. He's given up on his conservative base last year. I wouldn't say I'm friends with Kyle Biederman, but I talked to Kyle, and Kyle is our local state representative in the state legislature. And he just said Greg Abbott just shut everything down. He just stopped talking to people. He's like, I'm done. And this group that we were part of on Saturday night, Texans, Texans Against Vaccines, or I forget the name of the group. I'll make sure I find it because they're a really good group. I think it's Texans for Vaccine Choice. Anyway, they said that they had a pretty good working relationship with Abbott around the whole vaccine thing for a while. That he would meet with them and dialogue with them, and then all of a sudden and I'll tell you what changed for Abbott. It's when Mike Pence came to Texas, and Pence came to meet with Abbott, and then there's this guy, I think his name is Robert Jeffers, who is a pastor in Dallas. And then after Pence left town, two things happened. One, the contact tracing deal was done, which is still very weird, very bizarre. The whole contact tracing contract, very bizarre. And then Abbott cranked up. Well, he didn't crank up the lockdown edicts. What he did do was he allowed the cities to find loopholes and push back. So it's just like how Trump decoupled from the Fed from the states. Now the states, what he did is he allowed the cities to decouple from the state and to handle it the way that they thought they should handle it, right? Whatever that is. And so once it was figured out by this guy, I think his name is Nelson Wolf, who's a district attorney or judge. I think he's a judge in San Antonio. And once he found the loophole, it was like, Abbott said, "Oh, congratulations. Congratulations, you found the loophole. You get the golden ticket." Oh, we got an incoming call. Can't do that yet. We're not ready for the calls yet. But I will take your call. But I will take your call a little bit later. I think that's somebody trying to call me about a reading. We'll have to deal with that later. So that's when Abbott just shut everything down. And I follow him on Twitter. He's got the most fucking ridiculous tweets. Here we are today meeting with Admiral so-and-so, Commodore so-and-so, talking about the rollout for the vaccine program. We want to make Texas one of the first states in the nation to get the vaccine. Here we are today working with our vaccine task force. And it's like they're all sitting around a fucking table. They're all wearing masks. They're all, I don't know, who knows what they're talking about. But it's like an episode of the fucking Twilight Zone. I swear to God. It's like an episode of the Twilight Zone. And that's what they're doing. They're gonna roll this thing out. They're gonna roll these vaccines out. And it's probably going to be somewhat voluntary at first, until of course people start getting really sick. And once they start getting really sick, they're going to demand people, oh my God, we've got this new third. Well, the third wave is probably people getting sick from the vaccine. And then they're gonna crank down, and they're gonna do what they do. Oh, you can't go to the store unless you have a certificate, and it's coming. It is coming, and it's coming right here to this state. And it will probably come to just about every other state, with maybe the exception of South Dakota. Maybe South Dakota and Kristi Noem says no, thank you. Maybe that's about the only state. I can't think of really any other governor at this point in time that has shown any real spine or ability to just kind of push back on things. Maybe the guy from Oklahoma. I don't know. What if you're in the Indian part of Oklahoma, right? I mean, Oklahoma now is technically 2 states, and one is not even part of the state of Oklahoma. What if you're in the Indian Territory? Say, hey, look, we don't do that here. I mean, that's a whole, potential legal remedy. I don't know what's going to happen there. I mean, if I was in that part of Oklahoma and I didn't want to take a vaccine, I'd say, sorry, we're not part of the state of Oklahoma. You guys ruled on that, so we're going to opt out on this side of the line. We're opting out. And there probably wouldn't be anything they could do about it, because, of course, you see, now this is what the big thing is about Abbott, because it is not federal, right? Like, so what the federal government has done is the federal government has made the vaccines available. Now the states get to roll out their own little programs, but they're all following scripts. Abbott's following a script, but he's going to be in for, I think, a significant challenge here. Like, this is a state that was able to push back on people that wanted to flip the religious and philosophical exemption for vaccinating your kids to get them into school. They pushed back on that, and they won. They tried to do the same thing that they did in California. Fortunately for us, unfortunately for them, we've got some really dedicated women who are just warriors around this thing. And they took it on and they won. They got enough people, enough representatives, state senators, to back them and, flush this thing for like another year. But the thing is like, it's an ongoing cycle. It's this constant battle, right? You have this one, this irresistible force, right? Which is the tide of really aggressive marketing and canvassing and all the things that are being funded by these corporations that want to either inject you with their crappy vaccines, or have you on their psych meds, or have you eat their genetically modified food, or drink their fluoridated water. I mean, they are invested in this shit. And then, of course, what they do is they will throw that money into different foundations, different nonprofits. That money goes there, and those people are the boots on the ground. Some of it goes into lobbying, and some of it goes into organizing. Some of it goes into paying people to actually go to the Capitol. These aren't people that feel so strongly about certain issues that they must testify. Those people are paid. The people that go up there and talk, like, they're paid. They get paid to go up there. They get car rides there. They get fed lunch. They probably get about $100 a day to go up for a week or whatever. I mean, this is how the game works. Some of those people might be nutty enough to actually believe or feel like these things are improving the quality of our lives, and they'll do it for fucking free. Although they're probably the ones that are organizing these people. But this is how the game works, and then you have to get people to stand in the breach, and it happens here every other year. Some states it's every year. You have these state legislators, and a lot of the lobby groups have significant resources, really significant resources, and they just hammer away and hammer away and hammer away, and they've got a long-term goal and a long-term plan. If they don't get it this year, in this state, they may have a win over here in this state. They're working on 50 simultaneous theaters. So if they get a loss in one state and they get a win in 3 other states, that's a good year for them. It's a really good year for these corporations, right? And so it's a David and Goliath thing, and the these 3 women, Texans for Vaccine Choice, I think that's the name of the group. They just stand in the breach, and they just get in there. They get the people out here in the Hill Country. We have the Tea Party, and there's really about 5 or 6 people. I mean, that's really the core. About 5 or 6 people in Angela Smith and Tanya Benson. I mean, these 2 women are dedicated, man. I mean, Angela Smith is just going and fighting every single day. When she goes to the session, and they bring people in, they'll drive, but they don't pay people. It's just carpooling, right? And this is how the game works. This is how politics works at a statewide level. It is it is a battle. It is a war, and people are there, literally like fighting and clawing to take things away from you, like rights or freedoms, or they're fighting and clawing to add things to your life that you really don't fucking need. And then there are people who are doing their best to push back. It's so that they don't add those things. And if in some instances, if they can, to reclaim the things that have been taken from them. So that's where that's it. That's the pits right there. You're in the pits. But what's interesting is that we don't have a session right now in Texas. That will happen on January 20th. So all this is happening without a session, right? Greg Abbott and this Corona scam has been great timing for him, and he has to get it done. And Jennifer, I think this is the long answer to your question, is that he has to get it done. He has to have this all in place, and he has to have delivered the majority of these vaccines based on his agreement by the time the session rolls around. Because by the time the session rolls around, he's going to be dealing with a hornet's nest of pissed off and angry senators. And who knows where we'll be in January 20th. So there's a very long answer to your question. What I did find interesting is that I was looking at some materials over the weekend, and here in the state of Texas, the state legislature, if they wanted to, they can override any of Greg Abbott's executive orders. They could do it. They could override his current executive order right now if they wanted to. The problem is that they can't convene and vote. They can't convene and vote until January 20th. So they can't do anything. You see, he just did like a naked bootleg and is running with the ball. And it's going to be very, very interesting. But I think they're going to meet with resistance. I think they're going to meet with significant resistance in this state. It's going to be interesting to see what happens, for sure. Very interesting, because there are a lot of people here that will do. I think there's a line. I think there is a line, and I've seen that line. I saw it a couple of weeks ago at the Tea Party. By the way, the sneaky bastard Kent Myers, he basically took the snitch tool off the website, and then he turned it into a phone number. So now somebody's got to man the phone. Somebody's got to take the calls. It's like, okay, we'll take it down. Oh no, we won't really. We'll have a number. So it's just another bait and switch. See, this is what happens, and why people get so cynical and jaundiced with these so-called public servants. And he's not even a public servant. He's not an elected official. He's not. He's hired by the city. And he's doing these things. And, the city council, the mayor, they're like, oh, okay, well, fine, sure, why not? Well, we'll look the other way. Yeah, whatever. You're making us money. We're in on the deal. It's ridiculous. Anyway, we got another city council meeting coming up next week, and I can tell you right now, the vaccine thing, we're going to push real hard, and we're going to make sure that the mayor and the city council are going to be, they're going to know. See, the problem with the city council meetings is you cannot dialogue with them. You can only like testify, right? So, and maybe through the power of your persuasion, that you'll be able to strike a chord inside of them. And like, oh, I've never heard that before. I've never heard it put that way before. Wow, I never thought about that. My life has changed. Thank you for testifying. Wow. Like, I don't think that really happens. I think what happens is that you get a bunch of people all getting up there, and it doesn't matter like really what sense they're making. But if they're pissed off, that's what they'll figure out. I mean, they could be just, spouting gibberish. And as long as they had the volume at 10, they'd get the picture. Like they're really going to consider, a deep philosophical point. Oh, yeah, that's right. That is a moral conundrum that I haven't been able to solve. Thank you. Oh God, look who's here. It's Jasper the Red. Oh, here he is. There he is. Whenever the world gets a little down and out, just come back and, get a little Jasper. Just get a little Jasper. This will make your world right there. Right there. Hey, Phoenix, Jeffrey Tucker. Okay, you got the Tucker. What about Tucker Carlson? What's he saying? Is Tucker Carlson talking about, well, this is what we have to expect for the next 4 years of the Biden administration? Kamala Harris has openly been talking about reparations with Al Sharpton. Listen to this. Is that where he's at now? Let's see. What do we got? What's this? And why is this on my recommended? Because you were meant to be here. You were meant to be here. Stay open to the moment. Stay open to the moment. You might learn something. And if not, well, stick around. You might have a few laughs. Just be nice. Oh my God, my cousin was the first person vaccinated here in Arkansas. She is a year younger than me. She's 35. She studies vaccines and other stuff. And she got the vaccination. Well, let us know how that goes. Someone on Newsmax is saying Biden is our next president. Well, he won, apparently, according to the Electoral College thing, right? I hear Barr. Yeah, we'll talk about Barr, that fat piece of shit. He was. What does it say? Why did I think this guy was a teacher? Why did you think I was a teacher? I don't know. Why did you think I was a teacher? Did it say teacher? Did it say welcome to Robert Phoenix, teacher? No, Robert is a full contact yoga champ. Why did I think this guy was a teacher? If it's true, vaccines break down the RNA for the mother's lineage. They will theoretically make you sterile. That's what I've heard. Let's see what else we have here. I hope everything goes okay for her. Yep. Newsmax is a Newsmax. Don't trust Newsmax. There's nothing to trust with Newsmax. We've got more drama with the trust. There is more drama. There is more drama between now and January 6th. Oh, there's more drama. We'll have more drama. We'll have more pins and needles. We'll have more hope hanging by a thread. Right? We'll have more of that. Trust me. And who knows? Maybe even after January 6th, we'll have more drama and more whatever. Right? I mean, this is the roller coaster. Sky News says Biden wins. Yeah, well, AP said it too. So let's recap what happened. If you want to go over the Electoral College stuff, we can get into that, which is, I think, probably what you want to talk about, perhaps. Okay, so there were some things that happened today with the Electoral College that were dodgy. First of all, Michigan, the state of Michigan, guarded the Capitol, and the state police from Michigan would not allow the GOP electors inside. Okay, they would not allow them inside. So if you were a GOP elector, you were on the outside looking in Michigan. Nevada apparently voted Trump. Well, how about that? And then you had states like Pennsylvania, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, was it Arizona, right, where theoretically the GOP, quote unquote, electors voted with the same number of votes as the states, or the quote unquote certifiable ballots, right, which is a bunch of bullshit. I mean, it's the most rotten and corrupt. Hey, our friend is here tonight. The most rotten and corrupt election that I've ever seen. So there's a lot of gamesmanship still kind of being played. Now, the idea here is that if you want to buy into it, the idea is that the states, by doing what they did, and these are the swing states, the states like Michigan, Pennsylvania, North Carolina, what else? Who else is in that mess? I guess Arizona's in that mess. And I think Nevada was kind of Wisconsin. I think those were the 5 big ones, right? And by doing what they've done, and again, this is theoretically the idea that they were able to now catch them in a seditious act, right? So again, theoretically, by certifying the ballots, they've broken the law. They've broken this sedition law, because now they can supposedly prove that what they've done, based on their quote unquote evidence, is illegal, right? So the idea here is that they let it get this far so that they could participate in an illegal act. Okay, if that's what you want to believe. If you want to believe that they let it get this far because of that, fine. So then the idea now would be that it would be, again, contested up through January 6th, and then, whatever happens. But there's a lot that theoretically can and will probably happen between now and then. Okay, so what are the things that can happen? Well, we keep hearing Insurrection Act, Insurrection Act, Insurrection Act. I want to play you a bit of an interview that I was watching today. It's a pretty good interview. And let me see if I can find it. Where is it? I just had it up here. Yeah, that's a bummer. Where is this thing? I know it's around somewhere. Oh, here it is. Okay. So I'm going to play you a little bit of this. This is, and it's a really good interview. And this is, I'll let this play for about, I don't know, maybe about 15, 20 minutes. There is a meaty part, and it's kind of, I think it's hold on one second. So this interview was, God, I'm trying to figure out when it was from. I think it's before Friday. It's before Friday. So I want to get past this one part. Give me 1 second. So what I'm queuing up here is an interview with Stewart Rhodes, who is one of the guys from the Oath Keepers. I think he's the head of the Oath Keeper. He's a founder. And he's with Mike Adams, who, I'm not a huge Mike Adams. It's like I don't hate Mike Adams, but I also don't subscribe to any of this stuff really. But I'm going to play this for you because some of the stuff that Stewart Rhodes is saying, I actually think is interesting for a number of reasons. And he's going to talk about the Insurrection Act, and he's going to talk about martial law, and he makes a ton of sense here. And I want you to hear what he has to say. Okay, so this is Stewart Rhodes from the Oath Keepers, and this is Mike Adams. Let's play about 10 minutes of this. This is actually pretty good. Sorry about that. I thought I'd hit the, I hate it when that happens. I really thought I hit the sound thing. Give me 1 sec. Let me reset. That fucking pisses me off. I hit the share audio deal. Let's go back. Thank you everybody for bugging me. I apologize. Let's rewind this thing. Here we go. So he's talking about the National Guard. He's talking about the militia. Let's go. Here we go. All right, so apparently now you guys can't hear the sound in this thing. I'm gonna have to rewire and reconfigure my sound so you can hear this, because I did hit the sound option. So bear with me again. I'm gonna have to change some settings here. Give me 1 sec. Pain in the ass. Let me try something different. Hold on 1 second. 1 second. I apologize. The technology is not supposed to work this way. It's supposed to work the way that technology normally works. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to change the browsers. Let's try that. Okay. All right. Take 3. Let's try it again. And I want to get it to right about here. Okay. All right, thank you for bugging me about it. It's a good bugging. Let's get back here. And again, I apologize. I don't know why the audio is not sharing. I changed browsers. Let's go. And if it's not working again, text me.
Guards to guard the private home of every lawmaker until this vote is taken, correct?
Absolutely, and we've done it before. In fact, we're doing it right now. We're protecting some whistleblowers, and there are other groups out there. I'm not sure they want to be mentioned, but they are also protecting whistleblowers across the country. We're in the. That's what's so frustrating is we're already in the middle of an insurrection.
Right.
3 years ago, we protected the Multnomah County GOP chair because he wanted to go speak at a Patriot Prayer rally, and he was afraid to go without protection. I put retired police officers on him to escort him into a downtown Portland event so he could speak and escort him back out. That was 3 years ago. We've been in this environment for a long time. That's why I've been beating the drum that President Trump should invoke the Insurrection Act over the summer. He's long overdue to do this.
I want you to hear that. That's really important. Okay. He said, I've been banging the drum for President Trump to enact the Insurrection Act over the summer. He's long overdue. Abso-fucking-lutely. All right, here we go.
It's like it's in front of your face right there. You're dealing with a insurrection, right? I wouldn't even call it a civil war, although it has characteristics of a civil war because you have elected representatives helping. But I think insurrection is a better term for it. It's a communist insurrection.
Yes, I think you're right about that. And we even saw a Michigan state lawmaker now apparently threatening Trump supporters, putting out that thinly veiled threat to say, oh, soldiers should, essentially hunt them down and shoot them. I mean, she didn't use those exact words, but that's apparently what she meant. Now, this brings up the question of how does the militia plan to coexist with military troops on the streets if Trump invokes the Insurrection Act, or even with National Guard troops? How does your group work with those groups and maintain order and peace at the same time?
Well, the same way we've done in the past. I mean, we've worked right alongside National Guard. In fact, in Texas, when the Louisiana National Guard was brought into Texas for Hurricane Harvey, they were not allowed to carry guns. Well, Oath Keepers wound up guarding the National Guardsmen while they slept.
Is that right?
They were unarmed. So we've worked with National Guard in the past, all across the country during disaster relief, for example, and during rioting, and along with police. And when we were in Louisville, for example, there were National Guardsmen on the street. We had no problem with them whatsoever. We were guarding 3 different businesses, a gas station and 2 pawn shops. They knew we were there. We knew they were there. There was no conflict whatsoever. So it's not a problem at all. Now, the other thing to remember, though, is that the National Guard is part of the militia, but so are the rest of us. The body of the people trained to arms, that is the militia. And all of us who are prior service military, the president could call us up until age 65 because of our prior training. He could just call us up and federalize us, call us into national service as well, and assign us into units that we can be merged right into the National Guard. Because there shouldn't be any separation between the people as the militia and the National Guard.
What about the fact that many of these swing states have Democrat governors, and the governor may assert control over the National Guard in their state?
Can't do it. If the president calls the National Guard into federal service, that trumps the baseline of the Guard being under the command of the governor. So when they're called into federal service, they're now under his direct command. They go into federal service and no longer under state command. That's how it's set up.
Now, a lot of my sources are telling me, and I've reported on this publicly, that there appears to be a lot of movement of equipment, staging of military assets, and even setting up forward operations bases with medical facilities and local military intelligence units and so on across the country. Is this something that you're hearing that's happening as well through some of your contacts? Could you talk about that?
Yeah, I think it's safe to say this. I think the Insurrection Act is on the table. I mean, I can't tell you directly that that's the case, but I think that the indicators are. And I think him putting a Special Forces veteran, Miller, as the Secretary of Defense definitely was a good sign as well. I think that of all the military units and structures he has right now, SOCOM is his most trusted, I think for a very good reason. So I think that's what he used in Germany to try to seize the databases there. That was SOCOM.
Right.
So we're already seeing these are indicators of what's already happening. There's a civil war inside the U.S. government for sure, but it's part of, like I said, I would characterize it as an insurrection against the Constitution. But I think you should trust SOCOM the most. Of course, the other elite units, whether it's U.S. Army Special Forces, whether it's Rangers, whether it's Navy SEALs, which are all part of SOCOM, and going down the line from there to your line infantry units, they're mostly made up of traditional Americans. Now, the higher up you get in the ranks, to the brass, the less trustworthy they are. You wind up with Petraeus or McChrystal, things like that. But I would say for the most part, your infantry units, your combat units, the more hardcore, more elite they are, the more loyal they are to the Constitution. So I think if Trump presents the case to them that, hey, here's why we're in an insurrection. That's why I think it's great to see what's going on with Swalwell starting to come out. That's the tip of the iceberg. So I think that the military is paying attention to this. So I think that the pieces are falling into place so that Trump has this option, and I think he's becoming more aware of it and more predisposed, not say predisposed, but more open to possibly using it. And I think he has to. I think it's too late to do anything else.
Well, along those lines, what in your view is the significance of these things, the pardoning of General Flynn, and then also you mentioned Chris Miller in place as Secretary of Defense. Trump has also changed a lot of the people in the DOD, in the Defense Intelligence Agency, as well as the civilian, I forgot what it's called, a civilian board that provides analysis to the DOD. You know, he fired Henry Kissinger and Madeleine Albright and then put people like Corey Lewandowski on that board. So there's a lot of personnel changes there. It seems to me that there's no reason to do that unless he planned to maybe need to use the DOD, right?
Yeah, I think you're right. I think that he's at least doing that correctly. I wish he'd do the exact same thing in the DOJ, and the FBI. It's amazing that Wray is still there. It's amazing that Barr is still there. But yes, I think he's at least lining pieces up properly in the Department of Defense. But I want to make one thing very clear. I know there was a Tea Party group put a big, full-page ad in one of the Washington, D.C. papers saying that President Trump should invoke some kind of limited martial law or a temporary suspension of the Constitution. And I think that's incredibly dangerous and also erroneous. There is no such thing as martial law in the Constitution. He has no authority to set aside the Constitution, even to save it. He has no authority to impose martial law. He doesn't need to. Everything he needs is in the Insurrection Act and in Article 1, Section 8, where it gives the authority to call forth a militia for 3 purposes: to suppress insurrections, execute the laws of the Union, and to repel foreign invasions. And Congress fleshed all that out and delegated all that authority to the president in the Insurrection Act. It's all he needs. And then Article 4, Section 4, the duty to provide and to secure to each state a Republican form of government. That's all he needs. So it's unfortunate for maybe like people with goodwill who are patriots to go around and throw out the terms martial law or talking about setting aside the Constitution to save it. That does not help us. That only helps our enemies, because they can point to that and say, see, they're doing something outside the Constitution. What we're going to do is absolutely inside the Constitution. It's within our duty.
Yeah, I'm really glad you brought that up. I actually refer to that point quite a bit in my own podcast when I mention the term martial law. There's a general usage of that term that is not very technical. In other words, people equate that term to just troops on the streets. But that's not martial law, as you have explained to me and our viewers before. Can you give us a more strict definition? What does actual martial law look like?
Well, martial law means the will of the commander on the battlefield. So, for example, what Eisenhower used over occupied Germany, or what MacArthur used over occupied Japan. That's martial law. Now, the Supreme Court has carved out this exception to the Constitution where it says when the courts are not open and not available, that the military can rule a jurisdiction. That's nowhere in the Constitution. I disagree with that entirely. But that's what the courts have laid out. Where we can show that the courts have been closed by combat, then you can detain somebody and put them under military jurisdiction. I think that's wrong, but that's what the court has carved out. So even under the current system of screwed up court precedents, any talk of invoking martial law while the courts are still open would be wrong, okay? And would be struck down by the Supreme Court of the United States. That's why it's a red herring, and it's a mistake to even talk about that kind of stuff. Just focus on the Insurrection Act. And in the states, you've got a situation where you can argue that the courts, possibly also in the federal courts, are not closed, but they are actually enemies. They are participating in the insurrection.
Right. That was my next question.
That made very clear. that if the state, any level of the state, any branch of the state is either failing to or refusing to protect your rights, the president can step in under the Insurrection Act. So the courts can be wide open, which they are, but refusing to protect your rights or actively participating in the coup, and you can still use the Insurrection Act.
Well, and it seems obvious to us that the courts are totally corrupt, completely infiltrated, refusing to follow the Constitution and so on. And I guess we're going to find out whether the Supreme Court is in that category or not. But the state courts, even the state Supreme Courts in Pennsylvania and so on, are utterly corrupt, run by criminals, I would argue.
Yeah, and they're rubber stamping what is an obvious fraud. And of course, the entire time it's massive gaslighting. Oh, this is not happening. What's going on right in front of your eyes is not really there. It's all a smokescreen. It's all bull. Even though you have, irrefutable proof, you've got eyewitnesses, you've got, smoking gun video of fraud happening, and yet they still deny it even exists.
Okay, let me ask you then about military commissions, military tribunals, because there's a lot of talk about military tribunals, and there's also talk that, of course, the NDAA allows yeah, I know, I see you, but the NDAA argues that the president can declare American civilians to be enemy combatants and so on. Now, we were not happy when Obama signed that into law. It was unconstitutional when he signed it, but it is on the books right now. What are your thoughts on all that?
It's still unconstitutional. You can't use something that has no validity from the very beginning. So Article 3, the Section 3, the Treason Clause, makes it very clear that if you accuse an American of making war against his own country, they have a right to trial for treason. So that's what you should do with them. You put them on trial for treason. That's why you need a special prosecutor. That's why you need a real attorney general, and put them on trial for treason. You don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. You don't violate the Constitution in order to supposedly save it. So I think it'd be a tragic mistake for patriots. It's already a tragic mistake for patriots to run around and saying that, we opposed the NDA of 2012 because it was an obvious violation of the Constitution, but now we want to use it. So we want to go ahead and start, using military tribunals. That's one of the reasons why I know Q, in large part, is a psyop. They're trying to get patriots to sit on their butts, which they did for 4 years, and wait for this magical happening. But they're also advocating something grossly unconstitutional. So now you've got a bunch of polluted minds that think it's okay to hold military tribunals for American citizens. It's not. I don't care who it is. They deserve a trial. Put Hillary Clinton on trial and then execute her when she's finally convicted. But she gets her trial for treason in front of a jury of her peers.
Well, look, I might even debate with you on this particular point, because when the DOJ is completely corrupt and they refuse to bring charges against the obvious criminals, such as
that.
Clinton.
How come Trump hasn't fired Barr and put in a real attorney general?
Well, I suppose part of the answer is look at the pool of people that he could pull from. Aren't they 99% compromised deep staters?
Did he put Giuliani in there as attorney general?
I think he should put Sidney Powell in there as attorney general personally, but she's kind of tied up at the moment. But,
Here's the thing is I've sworn oath to support and defend the Constitution, and I will not advocate for its violation, no matter what scenario you lay in front of me. I just can't do it.
Okay, so I'm going to leave it there. I think some takeaways from that, which I think are pretty important, is that he's basically saying that the idea of pulling people away for these military tribunals is outside of the Constitution. And wherever you weigh in on that, I think there's some merit to that, because that could happen to anybody, right? That could happen to me, could happen to you, could happen to somebody watching this video or not watching this video. So I actually agree with Stewart from the Oath Keepers on that point. I think it's an important point. Now, obviously, this is pre-William Barr, who is gone now. And William Barr was there for way too long. Way too long. So now we're looking really at three remedies to our situation. One, either Trump calls in for the Insurrection Act. That's number one. Number two, they managed to press hard on the Bidens. The Biden family is not cooperating with any investigation right now. I'll show you an article about that. Or three, somehow through whatever happens between now and January 6th, they find that Michigan, Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, Georgia, Arizona were all complicit in something far greater than has been reported to date. Now, I'm going to show you a story that just broke, and it does have to do with Dominion, and it has to do with something called SolarWinds. Okay, I talked a little bit about this morning, and it seems like this story has gotten a lot more traction. But anytime the FBI is involved, I'm always dubious. Breaking: FBI, Texas Rangers, and U.S. Marshals raid SolarWinds HQ in Austin. More news coming on CEO and executive VP. So last night, the Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency, CISA, issued a rare emergency directive 2101 in response to a known compromise involving SolarWinds Orion products. This is only the fifth emergency directive issued by CISA under the authorities granted by Congress in the Cybersecurity Act of 2015. CISA reported a breach of the SolarWinds Orion products. The emergency directive called on federal civilian agencies to review their networks for indicators of compromise and disconnect or power down SolarWinds Orion products immediately. So who uses SolarWinds? Dominion Voting Systems uses SolarWinds. Now, apparently this was on Hannity. And Hannity is he's the mouthpiece for Trump and Fox News. And if something's going to be leaked into Fox News, it's usually going to be Hannity, because he's known Trump for years. So Hannity is running with this thing. And I'm not a big Hannity fan. I don't want to turn this into a Hannity thing. But this is relatively interesting. Relatively interesting. Right? So something's gone down here in Austin with this thing. So it wouldn't be, and I'm not, and by the way, I'm not bringing this up to stoke your hope chest. Okay. I'm just telling you and reporting to you what happened, and that there's a relationship between this company, SolarWinds, and Dominion. They also found in Antrim County with the servers that they seized that they were way off. And I think they gave Biden a 68% boost in the vote, which is significant. So there's still this accrual of more data, more evidence. And again, I'm not sure at this point where it's going to break or how it's going to break. But I mean, that just happened last night, right? That just happened last night. They went in and seized that. Now, who knows? Maybe they seized it for Joe Biden. I don't know. I mean, that's another possibility. They could have gone in there and seized that stuff for Biden so nobody get their hands on it. We don't know. But the FBI is completely untrustworthy. Texas Rangers. Every time I go to the Texas Rangers museum out here, it's chock full of Freemasonic memorabilia and goodies and products. Okay. So I don't know about those guys. And the U.S. Marshals, they might be somewhat independent. Yeah. But something went down, and Barr has gone down. So this is a real, I would say the Barr thing is a relatively interesting development, except for the guy that's replaced him is nothing special. I'm going to tell you that right now. The guy that replaced Barr is another fucking swamp creature. Okay. He may be a few pounds lighter than Bill Barr, but he's another swamp creature. I mean, it's like, could you please fucking hire somebody who is like outside of the fraternity who might actually do something? Could you please do that? Because this guy has all the pedigree to do absolutely nothing, just like Bill Barr. I'm going to show you who he is. Where is he? Where is that dude? What about? Here it is. Let's see what we have here. Okay, I've got his. I got one page. Hold on. It's not the page I want. Here's the page I want right here. And then I got another one all set up. Okay. So his name is Jeff Rosen. And I'm going to show you his Wikipedia page. And then I'm going to show you who he works for. Or worked for. Jeffrey Adam Rosen, born April 2nd, 1958, is an American Trump lawyer who has served as the United States Deputy Attorney General. So he's been the Deputy Attorney General since 2019, a veteran of the Trump administration. And will become acting United States Attorney General in the last 4 weeks of the current Trump administration upon the resignation of William Barr on December 23rd, 2020. So Barr is not going to be gone for what, another 9 days. So this guy will be around for a couple of weeks. Prior to assuming his ongoing role, he was senior partner at Kirkland Ellis. Remember that name, Kirkland Ellis, and was the United States Deputy Secretary of Transportation. Okay, what has he got? He went to Northwestern, he got a Bachelor of Arts, went to Harvard. Okay, Juris Doctor. Joined Kirkland Ellis in 1982. And he left, began working for the U.S. government. From 2003 to 2006, Rosen was general counsel of the United States Department of Transportation, acted as counsel for Transportation Secretary Norman Mineta. So who is he serving under during that time? He is serving under George W. Bush. George W. Bush. Now, he's not there during 9/11. He's there after 9/11. He gets there 2003. Mineta, of course, said some very interesting things about 9/11, but becomes the personal counsel, acted as counsel for transportation. So he was basically his lawyer, his counsel. He sat down and, whispered in his ear. In 2006, Rosen moved to the Office of Management and Budget, where he was general counsel or senior policy advisor until 2009. Of course, that's when Obama comes into the White House, so he leaves. While at the OMB, he criticized regulatory overreach and imposed EPA plans to regulate greenhouse gas emissions. Okay, so he's not a he's not a greenie. He also served as representative of the U.S. government on the board of Amtrak. So obviously, Amtrak's trains they're electric, I think, for the most part. Some aren't. I think they're mostly electric. But he's involved in transportation, and he's going to push back into greenhouse stuff. Rosen returned to Kirkland Ellis in 2009, and from 2015 to 2016, chaired the American Bar Association section of administrative law and regulatory policy. He comes back in 2017, confirmed as United States Deputy Secretary of Transportation. He got in by six votes, not necessarily ringing endorsement. There he served under Elaine Chao. So he's been around the Trump administration since 2017. Okay. So he was involved in a few things, some stuff in Puerto Rico. He got Paul Manafort out off of Rikers Island, which is a pretty brutal prison. So I guess those are his big things, dealing with the Consolidated Appropriations Act of 2014 for an educational campaign regarding the political future of the island, making sure that elections were satisfactory in Puerto Rico, and basically springing Paul Manafort. Those are his big accomplishments. And he was preceded by Rod Rosenstein. All right, so what is Kirkland Ellis, and who else works for Kirkland Ellis? I think that would probably be a good thing to do, to find out who else works for Kirkland Ellis and what Kirkland Ellis is all about. Well, let's find out, shall we? Kirkland Ellis, LLP, is an American law firm. It was founded in 1909 in Chicago, Illinois. Kirkland is the largest law firm in the world by revenue, the 7th largest by number of attorneys, and is the first law firm in the world to reach US $4 billion in revenue. That's a lot of money. That's more money than some countries rake in. Kirkland also ranks second highest globally in profits per equity partner and is the highest among firms with a global presence. While Kirkland was historically considered a firm focused on litigation, during the 2010s, it expanded private equity and restructuring practices, which together with large-scale commercial litigation comprise the core legal service areas of the firm. Now listen to some of Kirkland's client base or clients were. Kirkland has represented many prominent and controversial clients, such as British Petroleum, Deepwater Horizon. Oh, look who else they represented. Jeffrey Epstein. So they basically replaced Bill Barr, who worked at Kirkland Ellis and represented Jeffrey Epstein, with another guy from Kirkland Ellis. Also, they, guess what, represented Bain Capital. That's Mitt Romney's company. Prominent attorneys of the firm have included numerous conservative and Republican administration officials, including Supreme Court Justice Brett Kavanaugh, Court Judge Robert Bork, Special Counsel Ken Starr, various Trump administration officials, including National Security Advisor John Bolton, Attorney General William Barr, Labor Secretary of Labor Alexander Acosta, and the other Alex Azar. This guy is another fucking swamp creature. Sorry. Your boy Jeffrey Rosen crawls out of the same swamp as the rest of these lawyers. So now Bill Barr can take his fat ass back to the swamp that he came from. And now we get another, maybe slightly more respectable version of the swamp for who knows how long. A couple weeks? Really? And this guy's going to come in and start, this guy, Rosen, has made his living representing corporate power. Their clients, right? Deepwater Horizon, BP, Jeffrey Epstein. He comes out of that company. I don't know what his specific cases or clients were, but I guarantee you, he wasn't representing company. He wasn't representing an Indian tribe that was going up against BP or Standard Oil or some Iranian company. I guarantee you that. Okay, he wasn't representing. So these are the people that Trump continues to circulate back into his administration. Now maybe this guy's a Band-Aid. Maybe he's a Band-Aid until Sidney Powell gets there. Who knows? I don't know. Right? But it's just like, okay, let's just roll another swamp creature out. Let's roll out another creature from the Eye of Sauron, although perhaps a little more sophisticated with a suit and a tie. Trump said he would bring in the reset, and they said no. So he has to start some war somewhere, chaos to bring in the reset. Well, chaos is always part of it. There's gonna be a reset no matter what. So we're gonna be dealing with some kind of a reset, whether it's the version that Klaus Schwab is gonna bring and the World Economic Forum or Trump's reset. There's gonna be some reset that they're going to try to manage. Okay, that's their goal because they know where the energies are. They know that we're on the precipice of a supernova of our consciousness. And they want to fucking control it, right? They want to roll out vaccines just before the Jupiter-Saturn conjunction. They want to get into people's DNA. They want to get into their heads. They want to get into their psyches. They want to get them into their fear porn, just as we're about to have this momentous galactic experience. And they want to control it. They want to control every single reset, just like they've done before. And, would there be a more benign version of the reset? Would Trump be a more benign version of the new Schwabian reset? I don't know. Theoretically, it would be more entertaining. I mean, Klaus Schwab is not a barrel of monkeys. Bill Gates is not a barrel of monkeys. I don't find these people to be very funny at all. At least Donald Trump has a sense of humor. He's almost like a performance artist. At the very least, it would be more entertaining. But this is what's happening, right? They're trying to muscle in on our awakening. That's exactly what they're trying to do. They're trying to muscle in on our awakening. And you know what? It's interesting. What are we talking about here? We're talking about like stealing the vote, right? They're stealing the vote. Well, what are they really stealing? What is the real theft here? It's not the vote. I mean, the vote is an important thing. Don't get me wrong, right? It's an important thing because it's broken down the social contract. The social contract is shot. It is shot. It is never coming back. It's not going to come back. The people's belief in the Supreme Court and justice and all the things that theoretically, had been a very thin line and a very thin veneer for a while until they were like, okay, we're over, this is done. And now these things don't exist. It's over. It's done. Right? It's over. But there's this other reality that's emerging through us, and people are waking up. And the waking up process is quite painful. It is very, very painful. Whether they're waking up to the fact that the system is absolutely corrupt and filled with worms, whether they're waking up to that or they're waking up to something higher. Because many of us have been awake to that for a very long time. So our awakening process theoretically is different, that it's at a different pitch. So we don't have to necessarily wake up to the crap and the corruption because we know it's there. I mean, for the longest time, I was not political. I mean, I understood what was happening politically. I understood what was going on with Obama. I understood what was going on with Bush. I understood what was going on with Clinton, right? I understood what was going on, but it wasn't like my focus. It was like I could not exist in that world with those people and their level of consciousness. It was completely alien to me, utterly alien. And so I chose to opt out for a very long time. And I lived by my own rules, my own perceptions. I didn't talk politics. I was not interested in politics whatsoever. I found it completely and utterly, to be honest with you, boring, really boring and mundane. Now, when Obama came along, that changed a little bit. That began to change. Like Bush, I hated. I couldn't stand Bush. I knew what was going on with 9/11. I knew what was going on with the Carlyle group. I mean, I went down a lot of rabbit holes with little Bushy. And again, I didn't find it really interesting at all. In fact, I was really pissed off. And then, of course, Obama comes along, and one of the first articles I did on my blog was the emergence of Obama. To this day, I think it's still one of the best articles I've done. And it talks about Obama as an archetype, and then I really kind of focused in on Obama, and was like, wow, what I'm finding here is really not good, not good. So I was in early on the Obama experience, and to me that was sort of where the red alert was going off with Bush, right? It was totally going off with Bush, but there was really not a whole lot that I could say or do, and there were times when I was trying to wake people up during that time, and I remember when we were going to the Gulf War II. And I was writing my congressman down in San Diego. And there was one guy named Duke Cunningham. I've told the story before. I wrote him this letter. And I said, look, man, you can't do this. You can't vote for this war. And I told him why. And he actually replied to me. And it was a bullshit reply. But it was like, I think it was like maybe a year later that he got busted for all this corruption. And this is a guy who was supposedly some Vietnam hero. He was a congressman from San Diego. He got busted for all this corruption. He went to jail. That dude went to jail. So I think maybe what I should do is write more letters to Congress people and ask them to not do something, because clearly it had an effect on his destiny. I mean, that's not true. I wrote him other times too. Like, we lived in Escondido, and we were right in the flight path from Oceanside to the Air Force Base in the middle of San Diego. And we get these fucking helicopters coming over our house. These big gunship helicopters coming from Oceanside and going to Miramar. And they would be flying low, like in threes, and loud, and had a baby. And it'd wake the baby up. And I wrote him. I said, hey, look, man, can't you send those fucking helicopters like 10 miles east? I mean, Jesus, you're putting them right over the town. Like, would it really hurt to send them 10 miles east so that it would go over basically nothing? You know, that's where I was at that time. But other than that, I wasn't really political. If it affected me, I was pissed off. And clearly, I was not a fan of the second Gulf War. I thought it was bullshit, and I knew exactly what was behind it and who was behind it. And then it was, you know, then Obama comes around and says, all right, we got an issue here. We got an issue. And I started to look at Obama, not just from a political perspective, but also from an occult perspective. Right? A lot of the occult energy started to come in through Obama, dark occult energy. It was always there, but it really was beginning to manifest a lot. Like the rise of the Luciferase cult was really taking place during the time of Obama. So it wasn't really a political awakening, more of like kind of an occult political awakening. And then Trump comes along, and I'm like, I have to say, I love the energy of the primaries. I loved it. I thought it was great. I love the fact that Trump was, you know, basically making fun of Jeb Bush and telling him that he didn't have any energy. I mean, it was great. And it was great watching him pick all these people off along the way. And it was, you know, it was a lot of fun watching him, you know, take a few pieces of flesh out of Hillary. And when that happened, I said, you know, if this guy gets elected, it's really not about him. It's about the energy. Like, you just got to get into this energy. It is raucous. It is rebellious. It's Uranian. This is the energy of change. Don't get attached to the persona. Get into the energy. And from day one, I said, you cannot trust Trump. You can't trust him. I'm sorry, you can't. You can't. You can't trust him. It's in his chart. It is totally in his chart. And then I said that the other side of that edge, or the side of that sword, is that the people around him also can't trust him. So there is some radical wiggle room with Trump, and I think that's always been the case. And there are other people who I actually respect who comment on this, who agree with me that that's about the only thing that I think that we can wrap our arms around with that he's unpredictable. And that's really it. Everything else, it's like, just get into the energy, roll with the energy. But that didn't happen. And a lot of people got attached to the cult. They got attached to the figure, and then they got herded into Q, right? And now Q became this sort of, you know, collective cipher. And it's like, well, that's not really the energy, right? That's not telling you to be radical or different or carve out a new path. I mean, for me, I always saw Q as a form of pacification. And I've said that it was a good incubator for people, that certain people really kind of needed Q, right? Because it gave them a sense of not being alone. It wasn't like, oh man, I'm seeing all this shit and I'm alone and I don't know what to do. There's nobody to talk to about it. I mean, it gave people a sense of community. It did. It was like, I'm not alone, thank God. So that was a positive. The other was that it got like baseball moms and, you know, sort of, you know, regular sort of Christian people to wake up to the deeper dimensions of things. And I think that was a positive too, right? And to me, that's where it ends. After that, it's just, it's all disempowering at that point. It's all disempowering. Trust the plan, trust the plan, trust the plan, get the popcorn, trust the plan to get the popcorn. Okay, so now we're at a point where, well, we got, let's see, how many days to quote unquote trust the plan? And it's not about, to me, it's not about losing faith or giving up or any of that shit. It has nothing to do with that. Because again, this is like our time. All right. It's our time. And they're fucking hijacking our time. This is our time. This is our moment. This is our, literally second day, this is our day in the sun, but it's like, it's a different kind of a sun. It represents something very, very different. And they're just jerking it around, and they're going to run out their vaccines. They're going to do this. We're going to have election pollution. Who knows? We might have, 10 days of darkness and a fucking lockdown and whatever. I could really give two fucks, to be honest with you. I could give two fucks, because what I really care about is us and how we are going to break through, how we are going to crack open our consciousness. And the only way we're going to do it is by literally unplugging from whatever scenario that we think is going to come in and save us. You got to do it. You have to do it. You have to do it, because if it doesn't happen and you're still plugged in, what's going to happen then? It'll suck the shit. It'll suck your loosh right out of you. Okay. And can you do both? Can you have one foot in this world, one foot in the other? Okay, well, I'm going to hold the space for this awakening that I'm experiencing, these other people are experiencing, but I'm also going to hold the space for this. I mean, that's a possibility. That's a possibility. If you can handle that and you can do that, more power to you. Okay, I have a little of that going on myself, but I'm certainly not going to invest. I'm not going to invest in this outcome where all of a sudden, right? I mean, look at the guy who came in. This guy, this Cohen guy. He's just another swamp green. Well, he's just going to be there until Sidney Powell gets there. Oh, okay. All right, we'll see. Look, I think, if you want my opinion, I still think there's a pretty good chance Biden will not be president. I think there's a pretty good chance. But I'm not pinning my hopes on it. And I'm certainly not pinning my hopes on whatever happens after that. Because we just have to evolve in a different kind of way. We have to evolve almost as a separate species now. We have to evolve as a separate species. Because that version of the human being is over. It's over. And it's not going to come back. So, we have to explore the unexplored territory. And it's going to be tricky. It's going to be really tricky. But it is not without, I think, merit, nor without its potential benefits. And every day is another day where we get to test reality. I had a really interesting phone call today. I'm going to play some other stuff, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to open the Skype, and then we can wrap. I had a really interesting phone call today from somebody I've known for a few years now, I think 2 years. And when I first started to work with this person and talk with this person, they were just a bundle of nerves and a bag of fear. Okay, and if she's listening, I don't think she would disagree with me. Bundle of nerves and a bag of fear. And so, because I'm a practitioner and working with people, helping people, I did her chart, worked with her on a few things, and then she actually came to one of the events and got to meet her. And it was an interesting experience because she got to the edge of going, and it was like, I'm not going to go. I can't go. I'm like, well, why not? Well, my financial situation. And I'm like, well, okay. So I laid it out for her. I said, well, you could have this experience, and this experience, may be priceless in some ways. You might meet people that might change your life, or you can hold on to $1,000 or whatever, and maybe you could throw that at your debt and maybe be miserable, but feel a little bit better that You paid away the interest on something. So she actually went past her fear, and she came, and she had a terrific time. And I think in some ways it was life-changing. And it wasn't necessarily, well, it was the event. It was the event. And I'll tell you why it was the event, because it was the people. It was the people that were there, right? The people treated her kindly. You know, she wasn't an alien in her own atmosphere. She realized there were other people in the world that were like her. And they were respectful, and they didn't think she was a freak. She wasn't ostracized like she was from her own family. So I had a conversation with her today, and I'm going to tell you, this is a different person. It's a totally different person. I'm not different in a bad way, but different in a good way. And I even told her that. I said, look, you're different. And we said, well, you're different. I said, no, you're different. And she said to me, she said, Robert, I feel like I have been in suspended animation most of my life. I feel like I'm just getting thawed out, and I'm beginning to see things, and I'm beginning to see how I've been and what I've done, and how my behavior, which was not bad behavior, by the way, but it's behavior that was scared and limiting and not affirmative. And she's seeing now kind of where she's been. She's waking up, right? And she's like, you know, we had a great conversation, and she was, well, you know, well, I have this debt, I have this, and I have that. I said, well, what do you want? What do you want? And, you know, she sort of stated a little bit. I said, well, I see nothing wrong with that. I see nothing wrong with like activating what you want. So then we started talking about Abraham, and, you know, Abraham has this concept of forking, right? When you feel something, it's good, right? You feel something that's good, why don't you just go to it, right? You just go to it. You know, why not? You know, good in a resonant sense, okay? Not good in a, hey man, I really want to get another needle of heroin in my arm, good, but good in a resonant sense. You know what the difference, but we know the difference between the two. We totally know the difference between the two. So this is this idea that Abraham was, you know, broadcasting for a long time, this idea of forking, and you just keep forking off and forking off and forking off, and you navigate to the things that feel good, or the things that you aspire towards or would like to have in your life. And we started to talk about that, and the idea was that once you do that, you don't really have to worry about the details. You don't have to worry about the money and the this and the that and this, although those things can be important, don't get me wrong. It doesn't hurt to, you know, have some resources to work from. But really the most powerful resource is this understanding and belief that you can move into a new state of being, or a different level of conscious awareness. And that different level of conscious awareness can represent a lot of different things. And so we got into this talk about the nature of the ego. And I think a lot of people are really afraid of power and really afraid of bringing things into their life because they have not resolved their relationship with their ego. They're just not resolved with it. And so in many cases, people will opt out of something because they don't want to deal with the ramifications of getting what that thing is. You know, we've all read the stories about lotto winners who, you know, whose lives are ruined because they have, you know, millions and millions of dollars. But, you know, while those things are true, that doesn't necessarily always apply, because there are a lot of winners who've won a lot of money. And guess what? They've made their life a lot better. A lot better. You don't read about those stories, though, do you? You read about the ones that go wrong. But we all have that, a little bit of that programming inside of us. Well, what would happen if I really, really got what I wanted? Holy shit. You know, would I turn into a pariah? You know, would I take it for granted? Would my ego run amok? Right? I mean, these are the things that really get in the way of us being able to actualize. And there's more. There's a lot more. A lot of us are really grounded in a type of poverty consciousness. You know, we grew up traumatized and impoverished, and getting through a lot of those things takes some fortitude, and it takes some courage, and it takes some reprogramming to understand what's available. Understand what's available. There's another part of us that wants to belong. That if we move into areas of our lives where we're, you know, really accelerating and achieving and actualizing, that people will hate us. They'll hate us. It's like, oh, look at you, look at you, look what you've got, blah, 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 right? And a lot of people don't want to even cross that bridge because they want to be liked and they want to be accepted. So they'll stay inside their small little box because they don't want to rock the boat. And they don't have to deal with being alone. You know, and like in dealing with this idea that whatever you've done separates you from the people that didn't have the courage or didn't have the fortitude or didn't have the vision, right? Then it becomes kind of an alone place. And who's your peer group at that point? Well, they'll show up. They'll be there. They'll be waiting for you, actually. And we all have it. We all have it, you know. And I'm on my own journey with that stuff too. And I'm learning, and I'm working with it because it's something that's important to me. You know, I literally just in May I moved into a house. It's not my house. I rent it. But it was a big deal. I'd been in an apartment for 8 years. 8 years. And it was almost like I was, in some ways, inadvertently punishing myself. You know? It was like everything was temporary. And even this is temporary, but it feels more permanent in some ways. I put Christmas lights up. You know, I have a garden in the back, which I couldn't do in the apartment. So, you know, even this was like, well, I'm going to do this. And I don't care, COVID-19, who gives a fuck? And I had to get through that too. Like this wasn't the place that I was going to move into. I was going to move into another place in Kerrville. I'd already been approved and everything. And then I got cold feet for a number of different reasons. But I said, I still have to move. And I still did. And I pushed through and I found this place because I wasn't going to just settle, right? To just be there. And there's more. This is minor stuff. This is like fucking just minor shit. You know, I have other areas of my life where, you know, I'm pretty good at. Like I can do this. I literally can do this in my sleep. Like sometimes I get up at like, you know, 8:20 in the morning. By 9 o'clock, I'm actually doing this. So I'm okay with this. The other things that, you know, these are things that I am consciously working on. And I think we all need to be working on them because we're all waking up now to this potential of, you know, really what we're capable of. And you know, we're really, you know, in this kind of time frame, in this zone, you know, we're just learning how to, like, you know, piece this thing together, and especially with other people. You know, we have a Chatlandia group, and I was, you know, Owen Benjamin has his, you know, his Beartaria and the bear. I mean, so there's an interesting thing going on, you know, with groups and group consciousness, and you know, we're going through this kind of reimagining or repatterning what the individual is, you know, this is all part of it right now, right? So we're on the verge of some really interesting breakthroughs. We're on the verge of, you know, having this interpenetration with a new relationship with conscious awareness. And what do they want to do? They want to hijack the moment. They want election drama, right? They want election drama. They want vaccine drama. They want Bill Gates drama. They want Alex Jones drama. They want drama. And while some of these things are important, true, and to some extent real, the real action is happening somewhere else. That's where the real action is at, somewhere else. Let me show you a video here of a guy who is standing out from the crowd. Okay, he's standing out from the crowd. In order really to actualize what I'm talking about, in some ways you have to stand out from the crowd in your own way. Let me show you this. You're gonna laugh. It's actually kind of funny. What's this thing? Hold on a second. I'm gonna find it. All right, here it is. This is funny shit. Oops, I gotta go back. Hold on. Head on me. Hold on. Let me get back here. You got to hear the audio, okay? Now this guy is ready for a fucking breakthrough. He's ready for a breakthrough. He is ready for a breakthrough. He's at Costco in California. Watch this.
Don't tell me I have the right. You know what? Governor Newsom doesn't have the right to shut us down, to make you wear a mask. That's right. All right, people, you know that's right. We've got to stand out for ourselves because this governor is going to keep us locked down until we do something about it. And I want to know, are you going to let this happen? It's a beautiful day outside, and don't let them do it. You know why we're under this lockdown right now? Because all the information is coming out about COVID, and they know it's a farce.
Hey guys,
You must not do this.
just keep going, guys.
If you continue, this is the life that you will have.
Just keep going, guys. Keep going.
Don't tell me I have the right. You know what? Governor Newsom doesn't have the right to shut us down, to make you wear a mask. That's right. All right, people, you know that's right. We've got to stand out for ourselves because this governor is going to keep us locked down until we do something about it. And I want to know, are you going to let this happen? It's a beautiful day outside, and don't let them
All right.
do it. You know?
So what's interesting about this video is that this guy has got balls the size of grapefruits, okay? I mean, this is fucking awesome. He's standing in the clothing. He's like on top of this table where they, always fold these clothes made in China, right? And all these little robots have their little cameras out. All the little robots have their little cameras out. But then I'm going to show you this one thing which really cracks me up. Watch this.
You know why we're under this lockdown right now? Because all the information is coming out about COVID, and they know it's a farce.
And all these people are telling everyone to get away, to step away, right? They don't want anybody near this guy. Maybe he's going to infect them. Maybe he'll infect them with something more than corona. Maybe an idea. All right, here we go.
Hey guys.
You must
Hey guys.
not do this.
Just keep going, guys.
Let's just keep going. Nothing to see here.
You continue, this is the life that you will have.
Just keep going, guys. Keep going.
Just keep going, guys. Just keep going.
Don't tell me I have the right. You know,
Now she's got to come in. And here's the Karen. She's going to try and Karen this guy. And he's not having any of it.
You know what? Governor Newsom doesn't have the right to shut us down, to make you wear a mask. That's right. All right, people, you know that's right.
Okay. Now he's getting a little bit of affirmation here. Now she's doing the phone thing and do a little fist bump. Now watch what Agent Smith does.
Stand out for ourselves because this governor is going to keep us locked.
And look at that. He's like, he doesn't want her anywhere near this guy. Right? He just gets right in the way. Agent Smith just moves right into action.
Down until we do something about it.
And she's got the mask down past her nose now. She's getting ready to have a breakthrough.
And I want to know.
No, I guess it's around her nose. No. Come on. Take the mask off, baby. Rip it off.
Are you going to let this happen? It's a beautiful day outside, and don't let.
Why doesn't anybody take their fucking mask off? I mean, you guys are just sheep. This guy's a badass. Hero of the day. Right? Hero of the day. This is somebody who's willing to stand out from the crowd. Right there. Isn't that great? Isn't that great? Yeah, that's like the lone dancer. Absolutely. I do worry what happens to him, though. Well, that's up to him. Right? He's taking a risk. He's making a choice. You should worry what's going to happen to you. Oh, link, please. It's on Twitter. It's on Twitter. I don't know if it's on Facebook or not. I would have collaborated. It's Costco people. They have a certain mentality. I've shopped at Costco. I like Costco. But I haven't been back there ever since they decided to play their little mask game. Here in Toronto, the cops would be tackling him down. Yeah, they probably would. No doubt. No doubt. And guess what? Everybody would stand around and fucking watch. Right? Stand around and watch. The maskers are in deep psychosis. It is almost impossible to explain in normal terms. They're under Stockholm syndrome. They're under Stockholm syndrome now. They identify with their captors. That's what's happened. They're completely under the spell of Stockholm syndrome. Yep. I'm single, can't really afford Costco, left out, and it's far away from me. Yeah, I mean, there are certain things that you can get. Like, I used to shop at Costco on a low budget. When I lived in California and lived in Point Richmond, there were certain things I would get there that I could afford. So, for instance, my son, who was in kindergarten, first grade at the time, I'd make him lunches. So I would buy the Costco turkey breast because it was really good. It was good, good meat. And I didn't want to get the processed turkey. And I would have that thing and I'd cut that. And to me, it was more affordable. It was like a $10 purchase, but it was cheaper than what I would get at, Safeway or some other shitty store. So if you know what you're going to get at Costco, it actually can be helpful. And those are the things that I would get every now and then. Yeah, he's got balls the size of grapefruits. My brother says Costco is good if you need 50-pound chicken wings. Yeah, there's some things at Costco that there's some advantages to Costco. Not, but they're going along with the wokey woke. I was a flash mob of one today. Hell, I'm a flash mob wherever I go since I'm unmasked and proud. Yeah, well, there you go, man. There you go, Nathaniel. What happened to Joe? What happened to Joe here? I see a doctor recently here in SI New York. He was telling me the CV is going to get worse in the next 2 months and pushing the vax. Tried to ask questions. He just shut me down. Pushing the vax. You know what you do in the next situation? You give it to your kids. You give it to your kids. You give it to your grandkids. How do you feel about that? Right? You ask those questions. See what happens. See how he answers those questions. Do you see what happened when they asked Alan Dershowitz about the vaccine? He said, well, I certainly don't think my grandkids are going to get it. Of course not. Of course not. Amazing. Yes, get up, stand up for your rights. Absolutely. Absolutely. Like the gym owner earlier, just ignore them. Fuck yeah. I mean, come on, people. Let's go. This is our time. We are here to break through. We're here to break through. The planets are on our side. Just remember that. But you have to do it. You have to take a little bit of a risk, a little bit of a leap in order for that to happen. And sometimes it's uncomfortable. Sometimes it's uncomfortable. But it's doable. Trust me. They ticket you. Tear it up. Yeah. Fuck it. Right? Fuck it. I mean, we've seen what's happened when, theoretically these cities or police departments decide to play nice with their bullies and meet their demands. What happens then? They don't show you mercy. They crush them. They totally crush them. Our island is about to break ranks. Wish us luck. You go get them. You get them, Cindy. You get them. 8 of us went in Publix this past weekend with no masks. And 2 of us had Trump hats on. There you go, Robbie. That's how you do it. That's how you do it. I was at HEB on Friday. Okay, so you remember the story I told you about the guy with the mask, the mask, and he was wearing he had the sign, and I was involved in quantum entanglement with this guy. Do you remember that story? So I'm at HEB and I'm shopping around, and I go to the cheese section. Of course, I'm not wearing a mask. And here's this guy, and he sees me, and he says, "Thank you for being a patriot." And I look at him and I said, "You were at the meeting the other night, weren't you?" And he said, "I go to a lot of meetings." "What meeting was that?" I said, "The city council meeting. You were the guy with the mask, weren't you?" And he's like, "Oh yeah, yeah. Oh, you're the guy that was wearing the cowboy hat. I didn't recognize you without your cowboy hat." Like, this motherfucker had a mask on. Like, he had like a freaking welder's mask on, right? And he had his beard sticking out, and I recognized him. And I had a cowboy hat on, and he didn't recognize me. And it was really funny. It was really, really funny. So this couple walks by, and you can tell they're from New York. And he says to them, first of all, they looked like they were from New York. And once they started to talk, you can definitely tell they were from New York. And he looked at them. They weren't wearing a mask either. And he said, "Thank you for being patriots." And they're like, "Oh, yeah, thanks." Right. So the next day, I was at the hardware store. And I'm kicking around the hardware store, and I see the same couple. Right. I see the same couple. And I said, "Hey, thank you for being patriots." And they started to laugh. And I said, "So where are you guys from, New York?" And they said, "Yeah." I said, "Did you move here?" They said, "Yeah, we barely escaped." Right. So here they are. They're in Texas. They're not wearing masks. God bless them. God bless them. We got two really good New Yorkers living in town here. Right. And I've always loved New Yorkers. I've always really loved New Yorkers. They're very straightforward people. You know where you stand with New Yorkers. If they're going to stab you in the back, they'll tell you. Not like Californians. Californians will stab you in the back. They won't tell you. We got, hey, bro. What's up with you, bro? What's up with you, bro? Maybe I should put my hat on backwards. Hold on. I got my bro hat on now. What's up, bro? What's up, bro? Welcome to the show. We kicking it live, real, here. We want more bros. Come on, we want more bros. Anyway, yeah, man. I got my bro. I got my bro hat on. It's a revolution. We need the bro revolution. That's a gnarly hat. This is a you know what kind of hat this is? This is an Adidas hat. It's an Adidas hat. And I am wearing a very special t-shirt tonight, or a sweatshirt. I'll show you. This is property of Heat Baseball. Oh yeah. Heat Baseball. Oak Hill. This was my son's travel team. They were a badass team. Really, just a total badass team. Loved that team. Great team. Oak Hill Heat. Come on, man. All right, I got more for you. Okay. Let's see. What else do I have? No, that's boring. Oh, yep. Well, here we go. This is exactly what I'm talking about here. Here we go. I already have this queued up and ready to go. See, this is another little card in play. We got another little card in play here. This is the Biden investigation right here. So we got Mr. Ron Johnson. He dropped the old hammer there. He's a hammer dropper. Ron's a hammer dropper. Says Hunter Biden's refusing to cooperate with Senate probe. Senate Committee on Homeland Security and Government Affairs, the HSGAC, Committee on Finance undertook this investigation of potential conflicts of interest and the involvement of the Biden family. So, you know, they're just keeping their lips shut. Their flaps are closed. Today, Ron Johnson dropped a bombshell, and we need answers. He said the Biden family is telling Congress to go pound sand and refuse to cooperate with the committees. Wow, not good. Today, Devin Archer, James Gilliar, Eric Schwerin, and Rob Walker have not been responsive to our letters and emails. Well, Devin Archer is in prison, okay? He's in prison. One of these guys is missing. One of these guys, attorneys for Hunter and James Biden, have refused to cooperate with the committees. Oh my. Well, don't you have the fucking laptops? Please. Don't you have the laptops? If they have the laptops, then why do you need this? Just a formality? You got the laptops. You got everything. You got everything. Candace Owens versus AOC. How'd you like to see a cat fight between those two? How'd you like to see a cat fight between AOC and Candace Owens? Now, Candace Owens is pregnant, so it probably wouldn't be a good thing for Candace Owens to be in that cat fight with AOC inside of a mud wrestling thing. So there'd have to be somebody else. Who would be a good match for AOC? What about Tulsi Gabbard and AOC? That'd be good. That would be worth watching. Tulsi's got a little military training in her. I think Tulsi Gabbard would take care of AOC. Wouldn't be that bad. It wouldn't be that fast. It would be fast. She wouldn't take that long. What else do we have here? I can tell you that statistically the election was impossible. Would you want to hear that? Probably not, because it is impossible, and nobody gives a shit on the mainstream media side of things. Is there anything else that I wanted to bring to the table here? I tell you what. Why don't we open the old Skype line? Why don't we do that? And if you guys want to call in, I'll take your calls to WBRO. Welcome to WBRO, where the bros hang out. I used to have this idea. I was trying to work on this website, Real Dude Astrology, one of the 10,000 things I was trying to work on. And I had this idea for a t-shirt. And it was called Brostradamus. And it was basically Nostradamus looking like a bro, right? And then I had another version. I wouldn't call it the politically correct version, but it was like kind of the Moorish version. And it was going to be Frostradamus. And it was Nostradamus with an afro, right? So you could have the Spicoli version of Nostradamus and go Brostradamus, or you could have had the woke Moorish version of Nostradamus and Frostradamus. Like many other ideas I've had, it really hasn't had time to take root and come to fruition. Okay, let me get into the Skype world. Let's see.
Wolfman Jack, baby. It's me, the Wolfman. Ooh. Broadcasting to you from the other side of the border.
Yeah. Wolfman Jack, if you go back and listen to a lot of those broadcasts, he was dirty. He was a dirty man. Talked about sex. What you get tonight? What you get, all that shit. He was a dirty man. All right. Let's see. Where am I going? I'm going to Skype. I will get there. All right. Okay. What is my Skype number? I never know what my Skype number is. I got a lot of people I got to call back. Gosh darn it. I have a lot of people I got to call back. Yes. Where's my profile? All right. So here you go. I'm gonna type this in here So if you guys want to call and get in on some live magic here, we can do that. All right. There we go. There we go. All right. What do we got? Okay. I'll put this in the chat and then 0045. Now you don't have to call me. You can. I mean, if you want to Skype me, well, you can Skype me as well. So if you don't want to, remember how you used to use minutes? You have Skype credits. So I'll put my my Skype ID inside the chat box. Okay, so you can do that right there. That is my Skype ID. Or you can dial this number. Right there. All right, we got Ginny and Florum. Let's see. Are you calling in here now? Hello, Ginny and Florum. Nice to see you. We've made contact. We've made contact. West of the Rockies line open. The wild card line open. First time callers. That line is open. East of the Rockies. That line is open. The divine hotline is also open as well. Why are we, if you want to call in, you want to just talk, it's like a radio show. Pretend it's like calling radio. This is not a meeting or anything. So if you want to talk, right, you just talk. You want to ask questions, you want to shoot the shit, whatever, right? Yep. We did it on election night. Seemed to be fun. People got into it. Yeah. I could call myself. But that goes on in my head all the time. Let's see. Why are we doing Skype? Well, we're doing Skype. Maybe we're not doing Skype. Maybe we're not doing Skype. Let me see. Where is it? Ginny and Florum says hi. I'll say hi back. Hi back. There we go. There we go. Well, while you guys are figuring out whether you want to call it or not, I can find another thing to talk about. All right, let me just take your pulse, because I could read your text. What do you think about what's going on, and how do you feel about what's going on? Right? What do you think about what's going on, and how do you feel? And you don't even have to call in. You can, if you want to be private or anonymous, and you just want to text it, right? You could just text it. How do you feel about what's going on right now? Where's your head at? Where's your head at? Where's your heart at? Do you have hope? Do you think it's just a complete shit show? Do you think that we're witnessing something way beyond our ability to comprehend it? Are we at the cusp of a new age? All right, who do we? I think Ginny in. Let's see. Let me get back to Skype now. All right. Oh, you're calling in. Are you calling? Oh, you're on the video. Well, here we go. Can you hear me? Oh, you're live. Hey, what's happening? I see your smiley face. Can you say something? Ah, we got a breath. All right. Okay, hold on. Hold on. Don't go away. I can. Hold on. I can. Hold on. Yes. Okay, so I have somebody who's on now. Jinian is going to join us now. So I have a caller. So don't call in now. When I'm done speaking with Jin, yes. Hold on. Hold on. Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me? Yes. I can hear you. Hold on a second. Let me get back in here. Hold on. All right, let me get back into Skype. I can hear you. Can you hear me now? Yes. Mm-hmm. Can you hear me? Can you hear me, Jinian? Yes. This worked so well last time. I'm not sure why it's not working now. She's looking great. I'm going to tell you right now. This woman is looking great. Hold on. Where'd she go? I gotta get back into screen share. Hold on. Okay. Well, yeah, I can hear. Yes, I can. Yes, I can hear you. Yes, I can hear you. I don't know. All right. So hold on. I've got to. Okay. It worked really well last time. Let me work on the mic part. Let me work on the mic. Hold on. Audio. Yep. Hold on. Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me? I can hear you. Yep, I can hear you. Can you hear me now? Can you hear me? Yes. I feel like this is an Alexander Graham Bell experience. All right, I can hear you. I can definitely hear you. We got the microphone media, USB. No, it's not USB. It's hold on. What do we got here? I guess we're going to go into the default webcam. Let's shoot. It should be working here. Yeah. Let's try this. Let's try this. Can you hear me now? Jenny, can you hear me? Hello? Okay. So for some reason, it's not working as much as I'd like it to. All right, so I'm gonna have to say goodbye. Hold on, because we're having a bit of an issue. Here. Let's see if we can work this thing out one more time. Okay, so I'm gonna make this a little smaller. And give me 1 second. Yeah, let me escape in here. Okay. All right. So she has unfortunately gone away. I could hear you. Let me type her a message. Hear you. Okay. Let's try this again. Somebody call in on the phone number. Okay. Let's try it again because it worked last time. Call in on the phone number. Okay. Okay. All right. We have the recordist. All right. I think we have contact. You can hear me, right? Oh, Frank. Hey, Frank from Idaho, Frank. Okay, so let me. All right, we got a contact here. Let me make the connections on the other side of this. Okay, so that's okay. You see me all the time anyway. All right, so we got Frank on, and let's share the audio with old Frank here. Yep. And there was no visual. All right, so let's share this. All right, so it looks really trippy. Can you guys hear Frank? Let's see what the audience says. Yep. So can you guys hear him? Can you hear? Yep. I'm here. Yep. 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 You can hear me, right? Yes. Oh, well, this is totally compelling. They can't hear you for whatever reason. So we're having a conversation. Now, theoretically, StreamYard is supposed to be very faint. No, can barely hear Frank. Okay. Yeah. So let me try something different. Okay. I'm gonna unplug, and this could get a little. And then speakers. Default speakers. All right, let's try this. Let me see. No, it's not happening. Let's do this. I'm trying to jimmy jack a few things. All right, what about now? Can you hear me now? I can. Oh, well, now I feel like we're fucking starting the telephone here with Alexander Graham Bell. All right, all right, so go ahead. Can you hear Frank? Can you hear Frank now? Frank is from Idaho. And can you hear Frank? Yes. All right. So I don't think it's happening, man. They can hear me. Frank is still low, so I can't. I don't know why this didn't work as well as it did last time. Right now, this is kind of a fail, I have to say. But it worked really well last time. I don't know why. I had plenty of people calling in. Let me try that. Let me try this one more time. Hold on. All right, so we are sharing audio, and what do we got here? Entire screen. Let's try this. We got application window. We can, and then Chrome tab. Yeah, definitely fire the audio guy. All right, here we go. Let's try this now. Ready? All right. All right. So how about now? I think we might have done. I think we might have. Yeah, I think we might have broken through. There is definitely audio. There is definitely audio, and it says faintly. We can see him but can't hear him. Okay, so I'm going to do one more thing. Let me just do this. Cam mic, audio. I'm bringing you back into default microphone. I had to do this. Frank and I just had the most amazing conversation, and you guys missed it. Holy shit, it was incredible. Frank told me things about what's going to happen in the next 4 days, and you guys couldn't hear it. I'm really sorry. I'm really, really sorry. I don't think I could recreate what he just told me. It was probably one of the most important conversations I've had in the past decade. I don't know what to say. I really don't know what to say, except it's all going to be good. So for whatever reason, it worked last time. I don't know why it worked last time. But you have no idea how awesome Frank is. You have no idea. It worked really well last time. And Jenny Ann will speak too. I can't. What is that green light? Have you seen that green light? It's like, what is that thing? This green light has popped in to the last couple of videos. Have you guys seen that? Oh, it's there. There's something there. What is going on there? There is something happening in this room. There is some sort of dimensional thing going on. And I know you think I'm nuts, but there's something happening here. Like our little friend was here. Oh, there goes that green light again, by the way. You see it? Look at it. It's right there. And it's not a laser. It's not a laser. It's in my left eye. You see that? Where the heck is that coming from? What is going on there? That is no laser, by the way. Yep. Shows us we are online. This green light has been around, has been making its presence known for a couple of the few of the last streams. So there's something going on here, which is interesting. Yeah, you see it, right? There it is. It's there again. Yeah, it's there. Do you see that? It's not a laser. Like nobody's out there pointing a laser at me. So say hello to the green light. It's not a laser, though. I swear to God, it's not a laser. Yeah, it is. It is not a laser. So say hello to the green light. Hello, our little green friend. We welcome you. Yeah, we welcome you to our proceedings, right? We welcome you to the live stream. Why not? We may as well be welcoming. I'm sure it's friendly, or else it wouldn't be here, right? Anyway, there it was again. See that? It is. I'm telling you, this is not a laser. You know why it's not a laser? Because my TV, my monitor, is in front of me. Nobody can reach in and hit me with a laser because it's totally blocking the window here. The green light is light being. Please say peace. Hi, green light. Yeah, I think the green light's our friend. I think the green light is our friend. I think we can count on the green light. Green light, you're part of Chatlandia now. Maybe it's Judy. Maybe Judy is the green light. Maybe that's Judy showing up. Boom, who knows? It could be a little emanation of a mini or a clonid. Well, let's hope so. Let's hope so. Green means go. There it was again. Do you see that? Bang, right there. It's like dancing around my left eye. Anyway, I think it's kind of cool. And green light, you're welcome here anytime. I really wish I could talk to you guys. It'd be great for you to call in. I really thought I had the Skype thing nailed down. We did it so well last time during the election. But it seems to not be working tonight. So I apologize for that. Let me just take your pulse. And how are you guys doing? Yes. How are you doing? How is everybody doing? Before I sign off here for the evening, how are you doing? The top shelf is moving. There's stuff going on here. Charles says I should turn my light off. Should I turn the light off? Should we do that? Should we try that? Let's see what happens. All right. This is rather different. This is rather different. Let's see what happens. Let's see what sort of paranormal experience we'll have with the lights. With the lights down. Do the purple thing again. Oh, we're going to have purple on Sunday night. Sunday night is the return of the purple. The return of the purple is happening on Sunday. Well, I have sage, but it's not with me right now. It's somewhere. Let us know ahead of time when you get it worked out. Yes. We'll work out the phone thing. I'll figure that out. I thought I had it nailed down with Skype. I'll work out the kinks. I got black lights. It's 4 a.m. and I'm flourishing it. Have you guys heard about this Luciferase shit that they're putting in the vaccine? Have you heard about that? Do you know what that is? It's from jellyfish. It's from luminescent jellyfish. Luminescent jellyfish. That's where this Luciferase that they're putting in the vaccine, so that you'll glow and they'll know that you've been vaccinated. That's how they'll know you've been vaccinated. You'll have the jellyfish glow inside of you. Luciferase. I mean, Jesus. I mean, it really is like a James Bond plot, isn't it? It's just, you get Klaus Schwab. We will inject them with the Luciferase. Therefore, we will be able to track them and to see the progress of the vaccination and how they're responding to the vaccination and the introduction to the fourth industrial revolution and the Great Reset. And it shall be the Luciferase that will be the key to understanding. We'll do it again, Jinian. Luciferase. Oh, Frank's Secrets? My God. I don't know. That would be revealing a lot. Okay, I'll tell you something that Frank told me. You remember DB Cooper? Remember DB Cooper? Remember that guy? Parachuted out of the plane, never found him. Okay, remember that guy? Yeah. Frank told me he's not him. Sorry. Let's see. I don't know. Frank is a really good dude. He's a good dude. And if you're up in Idaho and you want to meet Frank, a good dude, go find him. He's there. He's my Skype friend now too. So apparently you can find him through me. Okay, there it is. Patent number WO 2020 666 World Order 2020-666 Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. Just the greatest, biggest mindfuckery. They just love it, right? They're not even going to hide it. They're gonna turn it into their version of a Bond film. And these people are like Spectre now. Bill Gates, Klaus Schwab, Christy Whitmer or Gretchen Whitmer, right? They're all Spectre. They're Spectre. That's who they are. They all sit around and meet around a big table and talk about, how they're going to enslave humanity. Well, it's true now. I mean, that's really what they're here to do at this point. And we're in the dojo with them, right? This is where we are. We're in the dojo with them, and we get to test ourselves against the so-called best. I saw the green light again. I feel somehow we are protected. Yeah, I kind of feel that too in some ways. I really do. I do feel we're kind of protected. There are a lot of people going through really hard times, though. There are people who are going through very difficult times, and and I would hope that they would have a sense that they're protected too. But I feel like that there is some level of grace here
There's some, but I think you have to kind of get to it. I think you kind of have to get to the grace, and I think really having to deal with your fear is the thing. That's the key. I think unlocking grace is dealing with your fear, and we all have it, and we all have some manifestation of it. And fear is not necessarily a bad thing. Fear can be it could be a real. All right, I remember one time. I was with my it was my she's like my first real girlfriend, and I got into the girlfriend game a little late. Okay, but she was my first, and she was cool. She was like a cool girlfriend, and she was so cool that she wound up becoming a lesbian. I swear to God, she broke up with me, and she wound up having an affair with this woman that she worked with, and I didn't feel half bad. It was like, well, she left me for a woman. It wasn't another guy, right? There wasn't another guy. It was, I didn't have that. Oh fuck, she left me for that guy. She left me for a woman. So it was a little odd, but didn't really deal a huge blow to my ego. Anyway, we had a lot of fun. So one night, it's Halloween night, and we decided to go see. Well, we didn't decide. I bought tickets to it. It was a Halloween show at the Oakland Civic Auditorium, which is this old, like, auditorium stage. I think it goes back to like the 50s, I think. Anyway, they have Bart in California, and so we decided to take Bart. Well, that was the only thing we decided to take that night. So we decided to take some of our little fungus friends. And, the veils are pretty thin on Halloween, right? So we're really starting to roll, as they say. And we get off in downtown Oakland. This is, I think, it was around 1980. It was Halloween in 1980. And so we get off, we're in downtown Oakland. Now, if you've ever been to downtown Oakland, especially 1980, like downtown Oakland is not the friendliest place. It's not a real friendly place, especially on Halloween night, and especially, rolling on the caps, if you know what I mean. Now, just to the west of downtown Oakland is West Oakland, and West Oakland is a heavy place, right? And we didn't know where we were. We didn't know where the Oakland Civic Auditorium was. So we get off Barr, we start walking, and it's really dark, and we're starting to head into West Oakland. And guess what? I had a little fear. Like, hey, I'm not sure we should be headed in this direction. We shouldn't be headed in this direction. See, in that moment, fear was a good thing. It was a really good thing, because it stopped us from having something perhaps a little dangerous happen to us. So we get in a cab, and I swear to God, the cab driver is like Peter Lorre's grandson. And we get in the cab, and he goes, "Hey, where are you going?" I'm like, fuck. We got Peter Lorre's grandson in the cab. "Where are you going?" I'm like, we're going to, we're going to the Oakland Civic Auditorium. And he's, well, okay, right. And then the cabbie, the dispatch calls in, and it's like, cab, where are you? And he turns off the radio. This guy turns off the radio. So now we got Peter Lorre's grandson driving us, and he turns off the radio. It's like, why the fuck is this guy turning off the radio? It's getting weird. It's already weird. It's getting weirder. So then we go to the Oakland Auditorium, and who's playing? Iggy Pop. Okay, it's Iggy Pop and the Police. And, an Iggy show is just like wild. It's wild. And the energy's wild, and it's Halloween. and I'm starting to melt. Okay, it's like I'm not having a really good trip because the energy is like fucking crazy, right? It's crazy energy, and we decide that we're gonna go set up in the bleacher seats because we are so rolling, and I'm waiting for women generally have to use the bathroom more than men, so I'm by the bathroom, and I'm waiting by the bathroom. And these women come out and they're looking at me like I'm standing there trying to pick them up or something. It was very weird. I was like, waiting for my girlfriend. So then as we start to go up to the next level, there's this guy who starts putting his arms in the air and he's like laughing like he's insane. He's laughing like he's insane. And he turns around and he looks at me, right? And he's doing the same thing. He's laughing and he's insane. He's got a mask on. And then he pulls off his mask and he's got a painted face on. So he's got a mask beneath his mask, and I just fucking lose it. I'm like, holy shit, what the fuck is going on here, right? This is how the energy was. So then we get to the top, and then they have this costume contest, and it was just nuts. And Iggy Pop was one of the judges, and one of the contestants that night was Ava Braun and Hitler. I swear to God. So this guy's dressed up as Hitler and then Ava Braun. And it's like, it's just going insane. And then they have this other guy that comes up. And he is a guy. And he's Miss and Mrs. Mr. and Miss Halloween. And on one half, he's got a perfectly like put together tuxedo thing with half a top hat. And that party's a dude. And then the other side, he's got like this perfectly put together blonde wig and a formal dress, and he's a woman. Right? It was like after that, we had to go. We were melting at this point. And we didn't even stop and see the police. We did not see the police. We had to leave. We just had to go because it was too much. So we got back on the BART train. And then we got back in the car. And then we went to another party. We went to a party after that. And, we did some other things at that party, which I'm not going to tell you about. It was crazy. But that's not even the best one. Okay? That is not even the best one. The best one with her, I swear to God this happened. We went to this jazz festival, the Berkeley Jazz Festival. It was a great UC Berkeley, so these great jazz festivals, and went to this jazz festival. And I think at that time I was about 19. And we decided that we were going to, get really elevated, if you know what I mean. And we're talking about a lysergic cousin of the old fun guy, okay? So we decided we're going to get real elevated at this event. And Greek theater, fantastic, beautiful place. And the music was tremendous. Opening act, Andy Norell, steel drums, beautiful. Chick Corea, Gary Burton, Gail Moran, wonderful, stuff. The funky band with Eric Gale, right? It's all just, by the time Chick Corea comes on, like we are gone. We are in Tim Leary land. And it's like, we would always do this. Like, let's just go find a place, right? Let's just go find a place where we can kind of lay down and just kind of take this all in. So the Greek theater has these trees at the top of it. So we decide that we're going to go lay down under this tree. I've told this story before. I know I have. You probably have heard it. But we're under this tree, and we're hearing Chick Corea and Gail Moran. It's almost, God, it's so beautiful. And we're under the trees, and there are ants in the tree. It becomes a Dali painting because Dali always had ants on the fucking tree, right? Or his paintings. I was like, oh, this is great. And then all of a sudden, these two women, but there's nobody around us. It's just me and her in the tree, and the ants. And all of a sudden, these two women, they start to dance around us. Right? And it's like, why are these women dancing around us? It was really odd, and one of them had a full-blown beard, like remember Bluto and Popeye, like that kind of a beard. I swear to God. And here I am. We're like in a Dolly painting, and the bearded lady starts. I mean, all of a sudden, it is like David Lynch, and we're both kind of looking at each other, like what the fuck is going on here, And it's just like, where do you go with a moment like that? And then they're just dancing. They're like dancing around us. It's us and the tree and this woman and her bearded bestie. And they're saying, "Oh, isn't this great? Oh yeah, it's so great." It's like God said, "Go fuck with these two. Go fuck with these two for a little bit." And when they left, and we're like trying to articulate this thing, so then the music changes, and it was CTI All Stars, fantastic. Never forget that night. Lee Ritenour, Ronnie Laws, Hubert Laws, Harvey Mason, just Freddie Hubbard, best fucking fusion you've ever heard ever in your life, right? And of course, we're just post toasties. So I go back and I tell my friends about this experience, and I said, "Man, you guys never believe this, man. Maria and I went to the jazz festival, and man, there's this woman. She's bearded. She's dancing around us. And we're peeking. This bearded woman is like dancing around us." And they're like, "Oh yeah, man, you're hot. You're just really hot. Yeah, fuck you. So I think it was like the next summer, we're at a party in San Francisco, and I think at least 3 of those guys were there. And who shows up? Miss Bearded Lady. She shows up at that party. And I told my friends, I said, "See, I told you, there she is. She's right there, right? She's right there." And by the way, there's like a fetish for bearded women. There is a fetish for bearded women. Like, if you're a bearded woman, you are theoretically in high demand. Like, there was like a sex cult fetish for truly bearded women. You can make good money. Go figure. I don't know why. No, I'm not even sure that that's what she did with her beard, but it's a thing. It is definitely a thing. Where's Jasper? The Luciferase. I don't know. Jasper's kicking it. Are you trying to tell us something, Robert? No, I'm not trying to tell you anything. I have no desire to be with a bearded woman. I'm just telling you, I found it out one time. I don't know how I did. You know where I found it out? I think I found it out on like the East Bay Express. No, I think it was like the Guardian or something like that. They'd have these ads in the back. And I stumbled across something like that one day. There are all kinds of people with all kinds of kinks. But the bearded lady one, that is a pretty interesting one, to be fair. That's a fair. Stone Temple Pilots, very underrated band. Scott Weiland was a rock star. Total rock star. So one day, all right, I'll tell you one more story and I'm going to go. So one day, I've been married twice. Okay. It's my first marriage. I'm walking around in Vancouver, like the city of Vancouver. And this is the day where they had payphones. And I'm walking by this payphone and it's ringing. So I'm with my ex-wife, which is my wife at the time. And the payphone is ringing. So I pick it up. And I answer like I'm Asian. Okay. So it not me. I'm like, I decide I'm going to fuck with the guy and the other, whoever this is. I answer like I'm Asian. And the guy starts asking me if I would like to rough him up. I swear to God. He asked me if I want to rough and I'm trying to talk to him in this Asian accent. And he asked me if I know karate. Do you know karate? Do you know karate? Yeah, I know karate. Yeah. Well, could you rough me? It was like so bizarre. This random phone rings. this random phone rings. I pick it up. I answer like I'm Asian, and this guy wants me to like come rough him up and whether I know karate or not. It was just so bizarre, so random. No, I can't. I can't do it now. It would be. You have to be in the moment. You have to be in the moment with shit like that. All right, one more, and then I'm gonna go. It's another phone story. This one's actually kind of interesting. It's kind of interesting. So, I was a phone psychic in the '90s, and it was a really interesting experience because the people that I was working for were actual psychics. Like it wasn't some fucking bogus like hotline, and I actually had to audition for them in person. So I got the gig, and people would call me. And I have my phone, dedicated line, and they would call me, and I would do readings for these people. And this is around, I think, 1994, Neptune, Uranus on my second house. So I was moving into, like, I was making money with Neptune and Uranus. Like, I couldn't get a regular job, but I was really good at being a phone psychic. I was really good. Like, I could do, like, remote viewing shit. Like, I could describe people. I could describe where they lived. I mean, it was, there was a lot of stuff going on. I was doing, like, these psychic experiments with this woman in Colorado. And we would psychically view each other during the day and stuff like that. So that was what I was doing. And I had this one young woman who would call me. And she was part Persian and part French. And she was actually very interesting. Very, very interesting. And she was in LA. And she would call me a lot. Like a lot. Like, and she'd be on the phone with me for hour 15 minutes, hour and a half. And that shit, those minutes on those hotlines racks up. Like, that's money, And I wasn't trying to keep her on the line or anything. It was, wasn't that way. She wanted to talk. And so I would do readings for her. And she told me some like crazy shit. So one of the things she told me, speaking about Iggy Pop, that she was running around LA with Iggy Pop's son. So, and not only that, but she was like a squeeze for a guy in the mob. Okay. The guy was married, but she was like his mistress. So she was telling me this stuff. I'm like, oh, wow, this is kind of interesting. This isn't your typical, I'm living in Nebraska and I'm not sure if my husband's cheating on me kind of call, right? So I was like, well, we talked about a lot of the stuff and I would do readings on her. And then one time, I think she was high and she asked me if I could see the angel in the room. And I'm like, well, I wasn't quite there. And, we had a discussion about that. So she would tell me a lot of stuff. And, and I was doing like readings for her about like this mob thing. It was pretty interesting. So then one day I'm talking to her and I knew what she did. She was an escort, right? That's what she did. She was an escort. So one day she's on the phone with me and she's in a hotel and somebody's in the lobby and they're trying to get her on the phone and the hotel keeps cutting in. And she said, okay, I gotta get this call. Let me answer this call. She answers the call. I said, so is that one of your Johns? And she said, yes. I said, so what do you do with him? She said, well, he strips down naked and he spreads his legs standing up and I kick him in the balls and I tell him he's a no good piece of shit. I swear to God, this is what she tells me. I said, really? You do that to him? She said, yes, I do. I said, how many times do you do that? As many as he wants or needs. I'm like, wow. How much does he pay you for that? And she said, he pays me $150 to kick him in the balls and curse at him and tell him he's a no good piece of shit. I'm like, wow, that's a trip. That is really a trip. So then I get a call from the service, right? The people that I'm working for. And they said, so you know who so-and-so is, right? I said, yeah, I do. Well, the next time she calls you, you can't take her call. um, and apparently she would get other people, like other psychics, like, because you didn't know who you were going to get, right? You didn't know who you were going to get. And if they got another psychic, if she got another psychic, she would have a tantrum. If it wasn't me, she was never that way with me. She was like really nice, really sweet, little spacey, you know, dealing with a tragedy that her escort friend died of a heroin overdose, right? Like a lot of strange, weird stuff. She was always nice to me, but apparently she got really nasty if the other person wasn't me. Okay, they told me that, but they said, but you can't talk to her. I said, well, why not? Because she's stealing people's credit cards. So what she was doing is that she was essentially either stealing or taking down the credit card information of her Johns, and then using their credit cards to call and talk to me. Right? Could you imagine the women who are managing those credit cards? I just saw that light again. And then all of a sudden, like, what is this $200 bill to this psychic? Can you imagine that? And these guys having to explain why there's a $200 bill to this telephone psychic service. Could you imagine what those guys probably had to say? I was trying to talk to a psychic about my work. And now the wife, who might be sort of maybe borderline new agey, it's like, oh my, he's seeing a psychic. Huh? How about that? We might have something to talk about now. Like maybe just inadvertently, we might have saved a marriage or two. I don't know. That's possible. That's really possible. But we might have busted a marriage or two as well. That who knows where that might have gone. So then one day she calls me, not on the psychic line. Oh, Jasper's here. Not on the psychic line. She calls me. And she has this kind of Persian, this kind of, sultry, international, exotic Persian voice. And she says, Robert, I need you to come to Los Angeles. There are things that I need to tell you, but I cannot do it over the phone. Here is my pager number. Yeah, that's right. And I'm like, should I go to Los Angeles? I'm really like thinking about this, right? Because this is where I was in my life at that time. It was like, let's just see where the next thing is going. And I thought about it. I thought maybe I should go to Los Angeles and go track her down. And then I want to hear what she has to tell me. There are things I need to tell you, but I can't tell you over the phone. Reason won out. What are you doing, Jasper? Mr. Chaos. Reason went out, so I didn't do it. But man, I was close. I was really close to going to Los Angeles and hitting that number and sitting down going, all right, let's get into a David Lynch movie, me and you. She was the most interesting of the people that came through that channel, that network. And I continued to be a tarot reader and a psychic. And there was this one woman, I would do the Whole Life Expo. And there was this one woman who would, she would seek me out. And she was convinced that Kevin Sorbo was her soulmate. Right? She was convinced that Kevin Sorbo was her soulmate. The Hercules guy or whatever it was. I mean, you sit down with somebody like that and you go, okay, well, let's see where this goes. Let's see where this goes. So one time I thought I, gave her, kind of I was doing tarot, I was kind of reading it and looking at it from a spiritual level. I'm like, sometimes soulmates are not always meant to meet each other. It was like, I'm not saying, oh yes, he is your soul. And then, you can't really go down that path. You kind of look at things, interpret them. Anyway, the next time she sat down, she was fucking pissed. She was fucking pissed. Not because that what I told her, but she was pissed that Kevin Sorbo was not picking up on the soulmate thing. And she was damned if that was going to happen. She was going to get another reading so somebody could confirm that Kevin Sorbo was her soulmate. I mean, I went through sometimes crazy stuff with the tarot readings, right? According to this reading, you don't have a soulmate. There was one time, so I was doing readings at the flea market in Santa Fe when I was traveling across country. And I've told this story before. And it was a beautiful Sunday. Business was hopping and popping, man. When you're on, you're just in the flow. Things are happening. And this guy sits down. I've told this story before, but I'll tell it again. This guy sits down. He's like a Texan. And he has this woman who's with him is quite attractive. And obviously, she's his wife, and you could tell probably about 30 years ago, like she was the trophy wife. She was the trophy wife. And she still was very beautiful. And, she was, this is somebody, theoretically, he could walk around with her on his arm and still feel really good about, theoretically who this one is on a physical level. She was a very attractive and older woman, right? So I start to read her cards, and I'm looking at her cards, and I'm like, this motherfucker is cheating on her. And it's actually coming in through the reading. Okay, I'm seeing this thing. And I'm starting to talk about it. And I'm talking about it in a way that he knows that I'm talking about this thing. And when he came in, he was like, hey, let's get a reading. Let's sit down here and get us one of these tarot readings, all right? Come on, honey, I'll pay for it. And so I'm talking about this thing, and it's kind of going over her head. Like she's not picking up the transmission, but he is. And this guy's turning green. I swear to God, he's turning green. And I'm watching him. He's getting very uncomfortable. And I'm like, are you okay? Are you okay? Oh, yeah, I think it might have been the breakfast taco I must have had. It's like, no, dude, you're getting busted right now, and you're not feeling so well. I think we better go. And that's what happened, right? He was like not doing well, and she wasn't getting it at all. It's fine, but he certainly got it. I don't think he's ever going to get another tarot reading yet. I'll tell you that right now. It is dangerous territory. You got to know what you're talking about. You got to, you got to have the language. Anyway, those are stories from a different time, and it was an interesting time. And I think at some point we'll look back on those times with fondness and a certain sense of bittersweet fondness, for kind of a simpler, more interesting time. But at the same time, in a lot of ways, it's like child's play, because I think, where we're headed leaps beyond that. It leaps beyond that. And we just have to get through this time, and we have to realize and remember that where we're going, and this reset really is our reset. It's our reset, and plant your flag in it. Damn it, plant your flag in it. Don't let them steal it. Don't let them hijack it. Don't let them, abscond with this profound cosmic narrative that you came here for. Like, it's happening. It's happening. It's on, right? It's on. I know it. I feel it. You know it. You feel it. And we can look at what's going on, and we can look at the shadow play and the puppetry and the dark theater. And we have to look at it. We have to be aware of it on some level. And we're going way beyond that. We're going way beyond that stuff. Okay. So just remember that. Wherever you are, your little corner of the world, wherever you're at, just remember that. And we will all rise together. We'll all rise together. And it may not be next week, although who knows? It could be next week. It may not be next month. Who knows? It could be next month. It may not be next year. Who knows? It could be next year. Right? Just be prepared, stay open, and define your terms of engagement. Define your terms of engagement. Consent. Don't consent. Don't let them take away your humanity. The humanity piece is the bedrock. It is the bedrock of who you are and what you are. And it's something that I've had to learn a lot about. The fully incarnational process. Okay, I'm out of here. There we go. This is the man. I know you're here for him. You're really here for him. And I just show up. Isn't that right, Jasper? He might be, and I've said this before. There are a lot of great cats in the world. And I know some of you have cats. And I don't mean to put your cat lower on the hierarchy of my cat. I think Jasper is one of the top 5 cats in the world. Right now, I think he's one of the top 5 cats in the world. I do. And who knows? I'm not here to judge other cats, but he's special. He's totally special. Because how many other cats have a freaking astrological song made after them? Right? And Emily has this story. Emily has this story about a dream and a Patreon client and Jasper. And we'll talk about that on the Matrix Mash. She'll tell the story. She will tell the story. Because it is really trippy. It is really, really trippy. Orange tabbies are great. They're great. Ain't that right, Jasper? Oh, you want to say goodnight to everybody? You want to say goodnight to everybody? You want to say goodnight? Yeah, look at that. He's too shy. There he is. Yeah, you're getting him a little bit. Say goodnight. Say goodnight. All right. Use your head in order to discern what's real. Your heart to stay open to what's possible. Thanks for being here. I just wanted to, look, tough day for a lot of people. It's been a tough few weeks. And I know a lot of people have their heads spinning between everything, the vaccine shit and the Trump shit and the Biden shit and, the trader shit and the China shit and the shit. It's a shit show. And at the same time, there's a whole different reality, a separate reality, as Carlos Castaneda once ably described. All right, we'll be back tomorrow. We'll take this up again. Thanks for being here. Signing off Monday night. Bye for now.